Hello CraftDee Family, and welcome to another tutorial by She's So Crafty. For today's DIY project, we'll be creating 6 Christmas and holiday themed DIYs to decorate your spaces. Now I combined items purchased from the Dollar Tree and Dollar General to make these crafts today. Now these projects feature buffalo check and Christmas prints along with that infamous truck theme. Now I provided the list of supplies and tools to make these projects in the description box below. Now I'm so excited to share this tutorial with you, but before we start, I wanted to say hey, and welcome back to my amazing subscribers and visitors to my channel. Now if you are a new visitor to my channel today, and you love to create fun and easy DIY projects on a budget, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and also click that notification bell so you will be the first to know when a new DIY tutorial is ready to share with you. So now, let's just jump right into these projects. Now the first project is a merry little Christmas sled. Now for this project, we'll start with one of these sled signs from the Dollar Tree, this placemat from the Dollar General, some pieces of garland that I purchased on clearance, and some of these berries from the Dollar Tree. Now the first thing we're going to do is to take that sled and we want to remove all of the tags and that hang string. And then I'm going to go ahead and protect my work surface and use this black acrylic paint to paint those rails on the sled. Now you do want to make sure you remove that little piece across the top, and we'll be reapplying that later. You're just going to apply 2 coats and let them dry thoroughly in between the coats. So now we can grab that placemat, and what we're going to do is center the design on the sled, and we want to trace it on the placemat with a pencil. And then we're just going to cut that shape out with a pair of scissors. Now we do need to trace that curve at the bottom, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to temporarily tape the placemat in place on the shed. And then I want to flip it over, and then I can trace out the shape of the bottom. And then trim that out as well. So now we can adhere our placemat piece to the sled, and you want to apply hot glue along the top first and make any adjustments. Now once it's nice and aligned, you can go ahead and apply hot glue along the sides and the bottom. And now we're going to grab that top piece that we removed, and we're just going to apply 2 coats of black acrylic paint to this piece. And then once it's all dry, we can hot glue that back into place. So now we're going to grab that garland and we're going to cut a piece that will decorate the top of our sled. And then we're going to shape it, and once it's shaped how you like, all you have to do is apply hot glue to that top piece and then press that garland piece into the hot glue. Now to embellish my garland, I'm going to be using some of these red berries from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to trim the stems of the berries down to size and then adhere them randomly to the garland. Now for the center, I'm going to use this checkered ribbon, and I'm just going to make a small bow tie sized bow for the center. Now once you have your bow shape, you're just going to cut another small piece for the center to hold it together. I didn't want this to be too overstated because I didn't want it to block the words on my sign. And now that our bow is complete, we can secure it in place with a dab of hot glue. And then once we secure that, we can add a few more berries if you like. And when everything is nice and dry, we can go ahead and add our twine back on the sled. And I'm just going to tie this on with a double or triple knot to keep it from flowing through. And now we can place our sled on display. Now I think that this turned out so adorable. Now adding that pine greenery and berries really make this piece shine. And this little truck is super cute. Let me know in the comments how you would display this sleigh in your space. Now the second project is a comfort and joy decor piece. Now for this project, we'll start with these tumbling blocks from the Dollar Tree, one of these ornaments in this package from the Dollar General, and a piece of black foam board from the Dollar Tree. Now the first thing we're going to do is to lay out my Sure Bonder silicone mat, and then I'm going to grab my tumbling blocks. Now I already stained a bunch of these with this Minwax Jacobian stain. Now what we're going to do with this is we're going to glue 2 sections of 4 blocks. And once we have those 2 sections, we're going to glue 2 sections of 5 blocks. So now we can glue the sections together, and I want to grab my carpenter square just to make sure that all the sides will be nice and even. Now we want to make sure that the shorter sticks are glued in between the 2 longer sticks. And now our frame is done. So we can grab our piece of foam board, and what we're going to do is place our finished frame on top. We're going to trace the inside with a pencil. And then just go ahead and grab your ruler and your X-Acto knife, and we want to cut the shape out on the lines that you traced. And then when you're finished, just test the piece to make sure it fits in the frame well. Now my sign will say comfort and joy, so I'm going to write comfort and on the top of the piece. And then I'm going to go over my pencil writing with this chalk pen. Now you can use a paint marker as well. And then when I finished, I just went back and made any touch-ups that I needed. So now I'm going to grab one of those joy ornaments, and I'm going to remove the hang tag. And then apply hot glue to the back of that ornament and apply it right under the words. So once that's done, we can insert the board into our frame. Now to secure it into place, all I'm going to do is apply a bead of hot glue around the seam on the back of the frame. And then this project is complete. And here is our completed frame art piece. Now I love the way that this turned out. Now the tumbling blocks are so great when it comes to taking stain, and they work so well as frames. And something as simple as foam board and ornaments can turn this into such a beautiful piece. And I know we all could use a little bit of comfort and joy. I just love how this turned out. Now the third project is a holiday tree display. Now for this project, we'll start with a piece of black foam board from the Dollar Tree. We'll need these printouts that are available in the description box below, and also we'll need some assorted scrapbook paper. Now we're going to start by taking those printouts, and I'm going to secure it to the boards with tape. Now I will be using this embossing tool from the Dollar Tree to trace the shape of the trees onto the board. Now once your first one is done, you want to repeat this for your second tree. So now that the tracing is done, we can take the X-Acto knife, and what we're going to do is cut the tree out along those embossed lines. And then to start carefully removing the trees from the foam board. So with that leftover foam board, we're going to cut out a large and a small triangle. So here I'm just estimating, I'm making a large and a small one. Now since the core of this board is white, I'm going to be using some black acrylic paint to cover it up and blend it in. You want to go ahead and paint the edges of the tree and the edges of those triangles. Now once those all dry, we can start to apply them to our scrapbook paper. Now you just want to apply hot glue to the back of one of the items, and then you want to adhere it to the back of that scrapbook paper. Now I bought these larger sheets of scrapbook sheets from Hobby Lobby for 25 cents, and they have so many to choose from. Now once all of the pieces are applied to that scrapbook paper, you just want to cut out all of your shapes with an X-Acto knife. And here are all of our trees cut out. So we're going to be hot gluing these together, so just protect your work surface and then grab a ruler because you want to lay out your trees nice and even at the bottom edge. Now once all your trees are aligned in place where you want to glue them, just start to apply that hot glue to the back and then secure them into place. Now in order for this to stand up, I will be using some tumbling blocks to support it, and I ended up using 8 of the natural blocks since I will decide to paint them later. Now you want to start by building 2 strips of 4 blocks. Then you want to stack and glue those strips together. So now you can take your glued piece and you want to apply it to the back of the trees near the bottom. Now as you glue this into place, go ahead and sit them up straight to make sure that the trees are nice and balanced. And then when everything is even, apply a bead of that hot glue along the top for extra security. Now I know we won't see the blocks in the back, but you all know I'm so extra, so I'm just going to go ahead and paint those blocks with black acrylic paint to match. And then once that is completely dry, your project's complete, and here are the trees on display. They turned out awesome. Now I love the combination of the buffalo check, and these make it look so festive. Now I think that these would be super cute for any season, and they're easy enough to make multiple sets. Now I think these trees are going to look amazing with my holiday decor this year. Now the fourth project is a holiday truck wall piece. Now for this project, we'll start with some tumbling tower blocks from the Dollar Tree, this burlap placemat from Dollar General, and a piece of foam board. Now I'm going to start by laying out my Sherm Bonder silicone mat and grabbing my tumbling blocks that I've already stained with Jacobian Stain by Minwax. Now I'm going to start by joining together 10 blocks with hot glue, and I'm going to make sure I use a straight edge to make sure that they are all being applied evenly. And now that we have our 10 block stick, we're going to make a second 10 block stick. And now we're going to make 2 6-block sticks. And now we can assemble our frame, and again I'm going to use my carpenter square to help make sure that the corners are nice and even. Now when making this frame, just make sure that the shorter sticks are sandwiched in between the 2 longer sticks. And now our frame is complete. So now what I want to do is grab the placemat, and what I'm going to do is set the frame right on top of it. Now the frame should fit the bottom and side edges, but we'll leave about a ½ inch peeking out of the top. So I'm just going to mark a line across that overage, and then I'm going to go back and cut off all of that excess. And then I'm just going to go back and seal that opening with hot glue. And now you can go ahead and start working on the foam board piece, and you want to place your frame right on top. Now we're going to be tracing the outside of the frame with a pencil onto the foam board. And then you can cut that shape out of your foam board using a ruler and your X-Acto knife. And now that it's all cut out, we can apply the placemat. Now you just want to center it on the board, and what you want to do is you want to apply a bead of hot glue across the top. And you want to make sure everything is centered and nice and even. And once that's nice and even, you can apply hot glue on the sides and the bottom. So now we can apply our frame on top. So just go ahead, flip your frame over, and you want to apply a bead of hot glue onto the back of the frame. Then flip it over and place it carefully on top of your mat and your board. Now it looks great as it is, but I did want to add a little bit of an embellishment. So I'm going to grab some of these garland strips, red berries, and some pine cones that I already had on hand. Now I want to start by taking the garland pieces and putting a folded piece in the top of each corner, and I'm going to be trimming it down on one side so it lays flat on top of the mat. And then I'm going to apply hot glue to the underside and place one piece in each corner. And then I'm going to add 3 pine cones into each corner as well. And then I'm going to add a few berries. Now we want to repeat this for the other corner as well. And here is what it should look like. So now what we're going to do is flip it over, and we'll be, of course, applying that jute string with knotted edges to hang it. Now once that dries, you can hang and enjoy your piece. And here you have it. How beautiful is this piece? Now I love this placemat from the Dollar General, and it looks so great in this project. And who wouldn't love this cute little truck? Now I topped this off with that pine cone embellishment, and the piece looks so warm and cozy and simply beautiful. So now the 5th project is a white plank Christmas truck decor. Now for this project, I will use this sign that I had in my stash from the Dollar Tree. I'll also need some of these window clings from the Dollar General. And now we can get started, and the first thing we're going to do is to take the sign and remove all the embellishments and all of the tags and that hang string. Now I will be applying one nice coat of this white chalk paint to the back of the sign. Now you just want to spread that chalk paint nice and even all over the back, and you can plug those hang holes as needed. And then you want to let it completely dry. Now once it is all dry, we're going to go ahead and mark our planks. So I'm going to start by marking the center of the board. And then I want to mark the center of each side, and make sure you draw your lines connecting those marks. So now I'm going to take my Sharpie and a ruler, and I'm going to go over those lines. Now to tone down the sharpness of those lines, I'm going to use a bit of white acrylic paint, and I want to dry brush it over the lines to let it blend in a little better and let that completely dry. Now as an accent, I will be using my faux galvanized poster board, and I created this by spraying it with shiny silver and then blotting with a paper towel. And I'll be sure to link how I did this in the upper right hand corner of this video and also in the description box below. So what I'm going to do is just to cut a 2-inch wide strip from that board and then fan fold them to create a corrugated look. And then I'm going to go ahead and trim the ends as needed to fit on the board. So then I'm going to apply hot glue to the folds that will contact the board. Now I want to apply it to the board about 3/4 of an inch from the top edge, and make sure that each end is nice and secure as well. And here is our faux metal look. Now we're going to repeat this on the bottom of the board as well. So now we can add our window clings, and I'm going to choose the Merry Christmas truck. Now to adhere this to the board, we'll be using this matte Mod Podge from the Dollar Tree. Now what I'm going to do is just spread a thin coat all over the cling nice and even. And then I just want to apply it to the center of the board. And once that's nice and secure in place, I'm just going to continue to add a few of the snowflake clings as well, and I'm just going to randomly place these around the truck. Now once they're all applied, I'm going to take some of this rope, and I want to cut 2 pieces the width of the board. And then I'm going to take my hot glue and run a bead along the top of that corrugated strip and apply a piece of rope into place. Now I do want to repeat this for the bottom as well. Now you guys know I love my projects to have a finished look, so I'm going to cover that artwork in the back, and I'm going to use craft paper. You just want to run a bead of hot glue around that edge and then press that paper into place. And then I'm just going to trim off the excess with an X-Acto knife. Now, preparing your piece like this is great if you want to have gift giving or resell your item. It just has a very professional presentation. Now the final thing is to go ahead and add that jute piece of twine with knotted ends and hot glue it into place. And oh my goodness, here it is all complete, and I just love it so much. Now I absolutely love these window clings, and there are so many awesome projects that you can make with them. And these corrugated pieces really resemble metal, and they really amp up the look. Now this project was so much fun to create, and I can't wait to craft with the other window clings as well. Now the 6th project is a truck bulb decor. Now for this project, we'll start with one of these large bulb signs from the Dollar Tree and one of these kitchen towels from Dollar General. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove that hang string and the tags. And then we're going to pry off the metal part at the top and set it to the side. So now you want to take your towel and you want to open it up and center that image in the center of the bulb. And then grab your Mod Podge. Now we're just going to be lifting one corner of the time at a time for the towel and applying that Mod Podge underneath and smoothing it into place as you go. And then you want to repeat this on the other side. And then finish it up by completing the top of the bulb as well. Now once everything is nice and smooth in place, flip that bulb over, and what we're going to do is trim off the excess of the towel, and we want to leave about 1 inch of the towel around the edge. And then flip it over and trim off that top edge where your metal part will go. And now we're going to use our hot glue, and we just want to start to apply around the back end section, folding the edge of the towel and securing it into place. Now this looks great as it is, but we're going to go ahead and put that metal piece back on top. Now I love this, but I felt like it needed a little extra jazz, so I will be using these garlic stems around my bulb. Now what I want to do is just start applying the garland in sections around the bulb, and you want to make sure you clip them down as you go so they do not lift. Now once they're all applied, I'm going to remove all the clips, and what I want to do is trim the inside all the way around so all the words will be showing and they won't be obstructed by the garland. Now a word of warning, this can be kind of messy, so have your dustbuster handy. Now I did have some of that berry garland left over from a previous project, so I'm just going to use that around the garland trim as well. Now to apply this, I'm just going to apply hot glue in several different spots. Now to finish off the front, I'm going to use some of this red and black check ribbon, and I'm going to tie a small bow. Now I'm going to secure that bow at the very top with hot glue, and then once that's secured with hot glue, we're just going to go ahead and trim it down to the size we like. Now of course we don't want those cut edges on the back of the piece to show with the towel, so we're just going to cover it with more craft paper. Again, I'm just going to apply some hot glue all the way around the bulb and then flip it over to secure it to that craft paper. And then you want to carefully trim off the excess, not making sure you're not cutting the garland. And then to hang it, we're just going to add that knotted jute string in the back with hot glue. And there you go. So now you can take your creation and place it on display. What a cute little sign. Now the towels at Dollar General are so adorable this year, and I just had to make something with them. Now I did apply my towel to the front, but I'll definitely use the back of the sign next time so you can't see the other sign through it. Now, I had so much fun making these 6 projects today, and I always find it hard to choose a favorite, but let me know in the comments which project was your favorite today. Listen, if you love DIYs on a budget, give this video a thumbs up and share this video with your friends. Make sure that you're following She's So CraftDee on Facebook for the latest news, sneak peeks, and giveaways. Thank you so much for visiting and checking out my tutorial. If you like videos like these and you don't want to miss the next one, make sure that you're subscribed and click that subscribe button below and turn on that notification bell. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.